Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. While under the directives of President Abdel al-Sisi, Dr. Mustafa Madbouli, the Prime Minister, inspected a number of developmental, industrial and housing services projects in Al Fayoum Governorate on Tuesday. He also inspected the Decent Life initiative, and he said that 60% of phase 1 of Decent Life initiative in Al Fayoum would be completed by the end of December, adding that the number of measures had been taken to attract investments. Well, to shed more light on this, we have the pleasure to have this phone with Mr. Abdel Latif Wahba, a journalist and the ministerial affairs expert. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Mr. Abdel Latif, yesterday Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli was inspecting the Al Fayoum Governorate, and especially the phase 1 of the Decent Life initiative. Could you give us an idea about this inspection?
Yeah, of course, as you know, that since President Abdel al-Sisi launched the initiatives 2 years ago, as you know, the cabinet and the government are aiming to improve the social life of the Egyptians on all
levels.
On all levels, and also in all provinces across the Republic. As you know, also that during the start of these initiatives, the government allocated about 700 billion Egyptian pound to fund all the projects in different aspects and levels, especially in routes, in high-speed ways, that connections between the provinces, and also education, health, and so on. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli, from time to time, visited one of the provinces. Last week he was in Al Bahira and also in Garbiya, and so on. Now, in Al Fayoum, he visited many projects like in other sectors like health, education, and also some tourism sites like Bahir Karun, and also many infrastructures in Al Fayoum. Prime Minister confirmed that Egypt is still achieving gross domestic product, especially in last fiscal year, for example. They achieved about 6.6 gross domestic product, and at the same time, the government succeeded in cutting the unemployment rate at the same time. If we remember, during 2013, the unemployment rate was about 13.4 or 13.5. Now it is 7.2. Although the increase of the populations during this period, as you know that Egypt population increased by about 2.5 to 2.8 individuals a year. So the government, and also according to the recommendations and directions from President Abdel al-Sisi, managed to cut unemployment rate at the same time.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Wahba, how can the Decent Life initiative support the civil society activities and products, as we all know that President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has allocated the year 2022 to be the year of the civil society. So how can Decent Life support the civil society activities or products?
It is not the first time that civil society participates with the government on many projects. As you know, that after President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi also directed the government to support the people financially, and also to support them through ration cards. Also, the civil societies participated in these initiatives by funding some of the needy families across the country, and they promised to pay for the commodities of about 500,000 families, or in families, yes, and at the same time that they participated also with the government in another especially that working on empowering women in some provinces, especially Upper Egypt, and supporting the needy families in some provinces also. This is, of course, a great effort and a great cooperation between the cabinet, between the government and the civil society. It is now, I think, it is the time to encourage the civil society to participate in all the initiatives, not only in Decent Life, but in another sectors like health, like education, and and the social life, and how to push the families to be a productive families, participating or working, and also they can support also the needy families in the poor communities, especially in Upper Egypt.
Yes, also, Mr. Wahba, what is the extent of the progress in the projects at the level of infrastructure until now, after Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli said that the first phase of the Decent Life is going to end by to be completed by the end of December. So could you give us an idea about this, please?
As you know that when the initiative started, they put a schedule, a time schedule for this initiative until end of 2023, and they started it gradually in some provinces. They choose the most needy urban and rural communities in provinces in Upper Egypt, and
yes,
also in Delta and so on.
Yes.
But as you know, they achieved, I think, in the first phase, they achieved about 90% of the first phase. I think by December or the beginning of the new year, they will start the other phase until the end of 2023. This is, of course, a great effort for the Egyptian cabinet, and also, as you know, that when President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi launched the initiative, we have to remember that about maybe 50% of the Egyptian people will get benefits from this initiative. As you know, that they are aiming to serve more than 60 million people on all the Egyptian provinces.
Yes. Yes. So, Mr. Wahba, how does the Decent Life initiative enhance the youth potentials?
Yeah, of course. As you know, that Decent Life is a great initiative at the same time. And when you founded it, it means that you can cut the average spending from the public budget. As you know, if you improve, for example, health, if you improve and develop the hospital, education, and so on, this means you are growing a healthy people. This is, of course, it means that the spending upon health can be cut according to the improvement of the health cases and also health infrastructures and so on. This is, of course, will be a positive side for the Egyptian economy.
Yes. Yes, so Mr. Wahba, also concerning the youth, how would the Decent Life contribute to the job opportunities for young people?
Yeah, of course. As you know, that all the infrastructures, all the projects you launched in all the provinces, for example, in roads, in education, and also health, and so on. Of course, will attract more graduated and more youth, and you will create for them new jobs. This is on one hand, because as you know that if there is a development on all sides, it means that you created or you create new jobs for the graduated and for the youth and so on. As you know that Egypt, as we mentioned, although they are growing, the population are growing by about 2.5% a year. It means that they increased about 80 million people during the last 8 years. But the unemployment rate, and this is the most significant remark for what they did, the unemployment rate was cut from 13.4% to 7.2%, although the growing of the Egyptian people. This is, of course, it means that you created new jobs, you created, you are empowering women at the same time in Upper Egypt, and this it means that you moved them from employment, from unemployment to employment.
Yes, Mr. Wahba, how do you see the Decent Life as an integrated initiative that, as we witnessed yesterday, the inspection by Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli to developmental, industrial, housing and service projects in Al-Fayoum Governorate under the program of the Decent Life initiative?
Decent Life is one of the national initiatives in Egypt, because it includes millions of people all over the countries. not only in the Upper Egypt. And as you know that before implementing decent life, they collected all the data from the governors of the Egyptian provinces and also the most needy rural and urban places. And in Cairo, for example, and as in Al Fayoum, you will not find what can be said slumming areas in Cairo, for example. And at the same time, the government tackled these issues in provinces through creating new communities, new cities, new villages, and so on. This is, of course, when you give the needy people, when you give them the housing, the suitable housing, I think it is one of the most important elements to attract them to work and to do and to be independent at the same time to improve their lives.
Yes, so Mr. Wahba, also the initiative also comprises also that the Prime Minister, Dr. Mustafa Madbouli, have inspected the housing initiatives that was dubbed Housing for All Egyptians. It's providing also the Egyptians with housing projects. So also, Mr. Wahba, as we can all see that when the Decent Life initiative have started 2 years ago, it started with the Upper Egypt governorates. And we knew that President Abdel al-Sisi, when he launched this initiative, he said that this initiative is going to start with the most needy governorates. And it started with Upper Egypt, and Upper Egypt was governorates that were neglected before President Abdel al-Sisi came to office. What's your comment on this?
Yeah, of course, as you know that when they started it, as I said, they collected all the data from ministries, from governorates and so on, and they also they adopted the planning ministry report about what can be said spending and income in Egypt. They adopted it, and they adopted all the information, and they collected the data. So they started on a ground with all information. And at the same time, as you know, that Egypt built many new projects, but we have to say that they diversified the output of the new communities for the needy people, for the middle classes, for the high classes, and so on. This is, of course, a chance for the people to join this initiative, and at the same time to improve their standard of their life.
Yes, I thank you very much for your time. Also, thank you for your valuable information, Mr. Abdel Latif Wahba, journalist and ministerial affairs expert. Thank you very much for joining us over the phone. Well, with this, my dear viewers, we come to the end of this episode of our program, The Breakfast Show. I was in the company of my colleague, Shireen Adel. My name is Amal Mukhtar. Thank you for watching.